Hey you guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Blessing here. If you're new to my channel, hi. I hope you've enjoyed all the content that you have seen so far. I am comfortable in my living room on the couch. I just wanted to have a quick talk with you guys. I can't believe that I have not done this video, but yet it is the most requested video that I think you guys have asked me, apart from where's your baby daddy? That has to be like the second most requested topic. But I wanted to address this because I understand why you guys would be curious, because you guys know I am African, I am Nigerian, and you know the whole stereotype of Nigerian parents being super strict, and on top of that, me having a child and being a single mom, how did my parents take it? So that has been like the most asked about question that I have gotten from you guys, is basically, how the heck did you tell your parents that you were pregnant? So I am going to be sharing with you guys exactly how the whole shebang went down. It was obviously over a year ago, and but I still remember like it was yesterday, because I feel like certain things you just don't forget. But anyway, get comfortable, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. To all of my new subscribers, hi, welcome to the family. And if you've not yet subscribed to my channel, be sure to click that subscribe button. We're almost at 10K, so I cannot wait to do a giveaway and to just show my appreciation to all of you guys. But anyway, that's enough rambling. Let's get back into why you guys really clicked on this video. I found out I was pregnant very strangely, very oddly, very non-traditional way. You guys know, if you've been on my channel for a while, you know I have endometriosis, and I've been battling with that for like such a long time. So it got to the point where I had to do a laparoscopy, and you guys know I had a laparoscopic surgery. And if you see my video from the laparoscopy procedure and all that stuff, I was told that the recovery time was 2 weeks expected. But anyway, so I got to like the end of my 2-week period, and I still wasn't fully recovered. I still wasn't able to eat. I still wasn't able to keep anything in. So I remember going to my family doctor, which happens to be my aunt, and she was just basically like, I hope you don't have bowel obstruction, because I was having a hard time, you know, going number 2. So, by the way, you guys, this video might be a bit TMI, so if you have a weak stomach, I'm sorry. I was having a hard time going number 2, so she was telling me to like just push on fibers and all that stuff. So I was like, okay, cool, whatever. And she was like, well, just take it slow, eat saltine crackers, ginger ale for your nausea and all that stuff. And she actually suggested, she was like, is there any chance you might be pregnant? And I was like, well, from my results, they took out my tubes, so there's no chance I'll be pregnant. And also, I just had a laparoscopy. Like, how could I be pregnant? Like, they just took out my tubes like a week ago, and they basically told me that my chances of having kids are like slim to none, that I should think about freezing my eggs and all that stuff. So I was like, no, I'm not pregnant. So she was like, okay, cool, whatever. So I went home, and at this point I was staying with my parents because I was recovering from my surgery and all that. But then I decided, I was like, you know what, I want to go back to my apartment. So I got my mom, I managed to convince my mom to let me go back to my apartment, which I did. I went back to my apartment. I remember sleeping on the couch that night. I couldn't sleep on my bed. I just was not comfortable. Like, nothing could get me comfortable. So I just slept on the couch, and the next morning I woke up, I was like, all right, let me go brush my teeth. All right, so I went to brush my teeth. I'm, you know, doing my, you know, my thing or whatever, and I went to spit, TMI, and green stuff started coming out of my mouth. And obviously, being in the medical field, I freaked out because I was like, oh my gosh, that's bile. You know, when your stomach is empty, you tend to throw up, and you puke, you tend to throw up green stuff, which is known as bile. So I was like, that's bile. So I immediately called my mom, and I was like, I'm throwing up bile, like I don't know what to do. And my mom was like, I'm on my way, I'm coming to pick you up, we're going to the ER because you most likely have a bowel obstruction. Like, seriously, like, I just got out of surgery, I really don't need this right now. So I was like, okay. I waited for my mom. She came to pick me up. She was there in like 10 minutes. Honestly, that woman is superwoman. But anyway, she came to pick me up. We went to the ER. We got settled into our room or whatever. The doctor came in. He's going through my history and stuff. He's like, oh wow, you just had a laparoscopy. I was like, yeah. And then he's like reading everything or whatever. And my mom is also in the medical field, and she happens to work in that same hospital that I was admitted to. So everybody knows her. Like, when Esther's daughters are being admitted, you better take them seriously, because they know my mom does not play, okay? And she's Nigerian. You will treat her child the way her child is supposed to be treated. Understand? Anyway, so, you know, the doctor was like going through my history and all that stuff. And then he's like, well, let's feel your stomach, you know, let's feel for your bowel. Let's have things going. And my mom was like, you know what, I want us to do an ultrasound because I'm really worried that she might have bowel obstruction. You know, she's been having a hard time going number 2. This morning she was puking green stuff, so let's just rule that out. And you know, if it's not that, then we can figure out what else it could be. So the doctor was like, well, I don't think there's any need to do an ultrasound. But my mom being Nigerian, she was like, I want us to do an ultrasound, sir. So the doctor was like, okay, fine. I'm going to feel her stomach. We're going to do a urine test. We're going to do some blood work. And then we'll do the ultrasound last. So that was kind of how everything went. So I did the urine test. They didn't come back with the results. I don't even know whatever happened to that. I did blood work. They wanted to make sure I wasn't endemic or anything. So all that was good. Lastly came the ultrasound. So we get moved into like a smaller room, and the ultrasound technician comes in. I'm using natural lighting, by the way, so that's why I'm using my windows. So that's why it keeps getting darker. I didn't feel like setting up my light, y'all. It's just, yeah. So, but anyway, we get moved to a smaller room. The ultrasound technician comes in, and she's going through my stomach and, you know, doing what she does. And my mom, and I look at my mom's face, and I'm seeing something on the screen. I'm not really, you know, I'm not really understanding what it is, and I'm looking at my mom's face, and I'm looking at the doctor. The doctor's like, What scared me was like the doctor, he went a little bit up towards my stomach, and then he's like, Blessing, when did you say you had a laparoscopy? I was like, a week and a half ago. And then he's like, okay. And then he keeps going, and the next thing he does is he leaves the room. And I'm looking at my mom, and my mom's like, at this point my mom had figured it out, because like I said, she's in the medical field, right? She had figured it out, and she's looking at me, and I'm still trying to like figure out what's going on. So the doctor leaves, goes and gets another nurse, and both of them now come in, and he goes back to doing the ultrasound, and then he looks over at the nurse, and he's like, this patient just had a laparoscopy a week and a half ago. Do you see what I'm seeing? And the nurse is like, oh yeah. And I'm like, what are you guys seeing? And so my mom is like, is that a cyst? Because like I said, I have endometriosis, right? And I'm used to having cysts, but this was like a big old cyst, if that was going to be a cyst. So the doctor's like, I'm afraid you're 8 weeks pregnant. And I'm like, looking at my mom. My mom's like, what? It's what? And I was like, how? I just had surgery. Like, that is not possible. And the doctor's like, I have been a doctor for 25 years, and I have never seen this in my life. And that just like freaked me out. And I'm like, I just had surgery, and I'm sitting there like literally trying to convince the doctor like, this can't be possible. I just had surgery a week and a half ago. They told me I couldn't have kids. They took my tubes out. They told me I needed to freeze my eggs. How am I pregnant? And when I had my surgery, I was 5 weeks pregnant. So, and they didn't see it. Like, they were all up in there, and they didn't see like something was going on. Like, and then the doctor's like, I have no idea, but you're very lucky, and this baby's very lucky, but right now you're going to be a high-risk pregnancy, and we need to do an outpatient ultrasound. So you need to come back tomorrow morning so we can do an outpatient ultrasound to make sure that you and the baby are healthy, but especially the baby. So after the doctor's like, okay, I'm gonna leave you and your mom a few minutes to just kind of, you know, sit on this whole news and stuff. And then he's like, well, it's definitely not bowel obstruction. Your bowels are fine. You got a baby in there. So I look at my mom. The doctor leaves the room. I look at my mom, and I'm like, Mommy, I don't know how this happened. Like, my mom's like, shut up. How do you not know what this happened? Don't you have a boyfriend? I'm like, yes, but I don't know. Like, my mom's like, Blessing, it's okay. And honestly, that's honestly what she said. My mom's like, it's okay, Blessing. Like, you're an adult, you know, you're educated, you have your own thing going. My mom's like, this is a blessing. Like, just 3 days prior to that, you know, my mom and I were crying to each other because I was like, I'm going to have to freeze my eggs. I don't know if I'll ever be able to have kids. What if I get married tomorrow and, you know, I have to now tell my husband that I can't have children? And my mom was like, just think about everything that you were crying about 3 days prior to this, not knowing that God had already, you know, planted something inside of you. So there's nothing that we're going to do to this child. This child is going to come into this world, you know, she's going to fulfill her destiny, and you're going to be just fine. So when I heard my mom say that, it was literally like all the affirmation that I could ever need. Like, she was so supportive, because literally 3 days prior, I was at their house and I was crying to her and my dad. I was so depressed, you know, the doctor had just called me, the doctor who did my laparoscopy, she had just called me and told me that I should, you know, start thinking about freezing my eggs, and, you know, if I plan on ever having kids in the future, I should look into surrogacy and all this stuff. And it was just devastating, especially coming from an African background. You know, kids are a big deal, you know, you want to be able to give your husband a child or whatever, and to know, like, God forbid, like, I was not going to be able to do that, it crushed me. And also being somebody who loves children, like, I love children, and I just couldn't imagine, like, what I had done to deserve that. So to know that even though I was sitting here in my misery crying and not knowing that God all along had already worked his miracle inside of me, it was just amazing. And for my daughter, my unborn child at that time, to not only had survived the trauma of a laparoscopy, it's crazy. And to have one of my tubes had been removed. So the tube where she was in is the one where they just they just inserted dye into it, and luckily the dye did not hit her, so that's why she was not affected. So when I say Aria is a miracle baby, I hope you guys understand that now. Like, it's just the whole journey of how we got to where we are today is like, she's miraculous. Basically, that's how my mom found out, was through the doctor. We were both in the ER together, and she was just so supportive. She was like, we're going to keep this baby. My mom had me when she was 17, so she started telling me, she was like, I had you when I was 17. Look how I did. Like, I was fine, you know. Grandma helped me raise you, and I'm going to help you raise this baby, blah, blah, blah. Like, you're going to be fine. Like, this was meant to happen. Like, you're going to be good. But the funny thing was, when I was like, Mommy, I don't know how this happened, my mom was like, don't you have a boyfriend? How don't you know how it happened? You live on your own, you have a boyfriend, you know how it happened, don't you do it? I was like, wow. And then the next thing my mom does is she's like, give me your boyfriend's number. So Aria's dad. I'm like, what? I'm literally sitting there on the bed, like, still in shock. Everything is like processing in my head. She's like, give me your boyfriend's number, I want to call him. I was like, Mommy, I can call him on my own. She's like, no, I want to call him. And I'm like, why do you want to call him? She's like, in case he dares says any nonsense, you know, I have him here on the phone, because he cannot try that with me. So if he wants to say any nonsense, he won't do it on the phone when I'm talking to him. So let me be the one to tell him. And I'm like, wow. So she calls Arya dad, and she's like, are you sitting? And he was like, why, what's going on? Is Blessing okay? And my mom's like, well, we're at the ER, but I just need to make sure that you're sitting down. And he was like, yeah, I'm sitting down. Like, is Blessing okay? What's going on? And my mom's like, congratulations, you're going to be a father. Like, straight up like that. Like, that's just how she said it. And he was just like, are you serious? And my mom was like, yeah, congratulations, you're going to be a father. And then he was like, okay, I'm on my way, I'm going to meet you guys there, blah, blah, blah. So that's how she broke the news to him. So I didn't even get to do that. My mom did that. And then, next thing I know, she's calling my dad. So she's like, Gabriel, guess what? Blessing is pregnant. I'm like, what? So I'm just like, bruh, like, who do I get to tell? Like, at this point, you told the father of my child, you already know, you've told my dad, so who's left for me to tell? YouTube? So I'm just like, okay. And my dad's like, are you serious? And my mom's like, yeah, Blessing's pregnant. And my dad was like, wow, we are keeping this baby. Like, that's the first thing they said. We are keeping this baby. Blessing, this is awesome. Like, you know, this is God's work. So for me, I'm almost curious to know if it's because I had the laparoscopy that my parents were so supportive. But then later on, I came to find out that it had nothing to do with the laparoscopy. It's just because they know I'm responsible. They know my heart. They know I have accomplished everything that I was meant to accomplish anyway. And I was taking care of myself and I was doing all that stuff. And also, the laparoscopy did add to it. You know, me losing my tubes and going through everything that I went through and still finding out that I'm pregnant is truly, truly miraculous. And there's just no room for anybody to be, you know, mad in a situation like that. Like, you embrace it and you're just thankful. Like, our hearts were honestly so full and so overjoyed. So when people ask me, how did you tell your parents that you were pregnant? I'm like, I didn't. Like, the doctor did, and then my mom just told everybody else. But honestly, my parents have been supportive since day one. And I've always said this, like, I would not trade them for anything. Like, raising Aria has been easy because of them. And my mom was the very first person to find out, and she was so supportive. She was in shock. She was excited because it was like, how? Like, we were over here preparing to, you know, freeze your eggs and all this stuff. So for us to find out that I'm pregnant in the ER, it was just amazing. So yes, African parents can definitely be a handful. They can definitely, I know, because growing up, my mom was like, she was always like, don't bring pregnancy into this household, don't do this, don't do this, don't do that. But then when it finally happened, they couldn't help but just be overwhelmed and just be, you know, supportive and just be loving and caring. And now they spoil Aria like no tomorrow. Like, there's not a time that they go shopping that they don't think of Aria or anything. Like, Aria is spoiled beyond anything, and she's just been an amazing child. Plus, everything that she's gone through post-birth it's just been amazing. So from this story, you guys can kind of tell why it is that I'm like, Aria is my miracle baby. And also just everything that has led to me just being in the place that I am today, being grateful for you guys, and just, you know, getting closer to God and all of that stuff. But that's basically how my parents found out that I was pregnant, was in the ER through a doctor, and then everybody else just found out through my mom. She did all the announcing for me. She beat me right to it. I think the only person that I told myself was my sister. And that was it. Because Aria's dad told his mom, and then his mom told his dad. So, and then his mom also told his siblings. So our parents basically did the telling for us. So the only people that I honestly told myself that heard it from my mouth was my sister and you guys. And so that's pretty much it. My mom did everything. She did everything else. She did all the announcing for me. So I was definitely worried that my parents would basically turn their backs on me and be like, you're not married and you're having a child, like, what is this, what is that, like, what's going on? But at the same time, I had to remember that my parents aren't like your traditional, they're very traditional when it comes to certain things, you know, in the Nigerian culture. But at the same time, like I said, my mom had me when she was 17, so she understands, you know, the modern culture and how things obviously happen, and she understands, you know, that, you know, sometimes you plan things but things don't always go as planned. And she doesn't, you know, look down on me because I had a child and I wasn't married or anything like that. If anything, she's like, you know what, your own time is going to come, and when it comes, it's going to be amazing. Just think about, you've already had your child. Some people are waiting to be, you know, 30, 35 before they start having their child. But by the time they have their kids, your kid is going to be like running around. You're not going to be worried about packing diapers and packing diaper bags and all this stuff. So she has been very supportive, very understanding, and so has my dad. Like, anybody that knows my family, they know how chill and just down to earth they are. But yeah, but I think if I was to get pregnant again, they'll probably have a lot more to say. But they took it very well. They took it very well, and I'm grateful for that. I know other people's pregnancy story or parents' reaction probably aren't as cheerful and happy as mine is, but that's the one question that I've gotten a lot is, how the heck did you tell your Nigerian parents that you were pregnant? And I didn't. The doctor did it, and then my mom just did everything else. That's the story. There's really not much to it. It's funny now thinking about it, but it was literally May 8th of last year that I found out I was pregnant. So it's just amazing to see how time has changed and all that stuff. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any more questions for me or any other video suggestions that you'd like for me to film, be sure to let me know. I am more than happy to do so. But I love you guys. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to click the like button. And I'll see you all on my next video. Bye, and God bless.